themed calendars.
Joe was in a miserable minority of one.
Can I just say one word? I don't really fundamentally believe in the stylish cats and dogs. I think it's bollocks.
You are going with it.
Yeah.
That's it. Final. That's it.
Yeah.
Manny and Saeed did a lot of swearing.
We do fucking well know prices.
Why the fuck are you being so aggressive?
Because you're talking crap.
No,
Why does crap always come out of your mouth?
When the going got tough, the boys fell apart.
Nobody is closing any business.
Come on, Jess.
World-class pitching, Manny style.
August and action. The director, I love that picture.
The girls' pitcher, Nargis, told the others to pipe down.
No one else is to butt in. I'm doing this.
So she could make a hash of it all on her own.
And what sort of cost price do you imagine?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
At the sight of kittens, Sir Alan's claws came out.
This sucks, as far as I'm concerned.
The crybaby boy suddenly came over all macho.
Kittens! Oh my God, you lost. Chin up.
Sir Alan smelt a rat when Nargis took Karen and Joe back in.
Can I ask you a point-blank question? Did you bring her in here thinking that because you two seem to come across as quite bright, that you're forcing me to make the decision to get rid of her? You sure?
Yes.
Nargis, tell me why I shouldn't fire you as a team leader here.
I was leading a team of very highly adrenaline-charged, strong-minded, intelligent women, and I think I did a good job at leading them.
Joe fought a corner.
At the end of the day, we lost. That's a crap calendar.
So you're getting
And how can you get rid of me when I've been saying that the whole time? It's just bizarre.
Okay, thanks a lot. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Absolutely bizarre.
Yeah, OK, that's it. Thank you.
And Sir Alan gave her another chance.
And I'm trusting you here. You're not leading me down the garden path. Nargis, you're fired.
I'm not going to let you down. I'm not going to.
Well, out of that door into this one, ladies and gentlemen, Nargis Ara. Did you know there are 6 million cat owners in this country?
Why didn't someone make her shut up?
I don't know. Good question. I think others have asked that. So you've seen the programme for the first time tonight. What did you think?
If I did it again, I'd still do cats, because the research shows that cat calendars... Well, they are. They're the best... They're the top-selling calendar.
Well, we'll find out shortly why that might not necessarily be the case. And you've got to ask, well, why didn't they actually go and buy them then? I'm sure you could look back now and see that they sold more of the other kind of calendar.
The reason we didn't sell as many as we could have done to Calendar Club is because we didn't pitch at the right level, at the right price. So we pitched too high. And yes, of course, you know, my sales pitch was rubbish too.
We'll have a long, loving look at that again shortly. Felicity, what did you make of Nargis's performance there? Do you think it's the right one to go?
I think what Nargis did was put herself in a position where she was a team leader and also doing the presentation, and arguably there was too much there to do.
If somebody came into my office and spoke to me how you spoke to them, I'd have thrown you out. I genuinely would have thrown you out.
You've got to bear in mind, it's the nervousness, the atmosphere there. I mean, there was a lot of nerves going on. And also, the sales pitch was written by Karen. And I sort of edited it to make it in my voice, but basically the bottom line is she wrote it. She was given the responsibility of telling me how to do a sales pitch because I'd never done one before.
Well, at least we'll say this for your pitching. You didn't accuse yourself, unlike Manny, of being a world-class presenter, which is what he said. So let's take another look at yours.
Shall I sit down or stand up?
Well, I can't see if you're sitting down, so I'm going to stand up.
All right. The first thing I'd like to say is, did you know that there are 6 million cat owners in the UK alone? You need to give me something. You need to tell me what you would be prepared to pay here and now.
OK, I don't think either of us are prepared to do that right now.
Well, give me a figure. Give me a number.
Can I interrupt?
Yes, sure.
But I don't really understand why it's a children's charity and a bunch of cats.
I'm actually going to come to that. So if I can just finish the whole presentation, then we'll come back to that. So the product is fresh, stylish, contemporary. It will look fantastic on your shelves.
OK, a couple of questions now. Oh, sorry,
I haven't finished
There's
yet.
more, OK.
You must have started to realise that this 6 million cats line wasn't interesting to anybody. It just wasn't working, so why not drop it by the second or third time you were using it?
Well, I had Karen and Ruth on two sides of me, and we decided that they were going to sit on two sides of me. They were going to scribble notes and say to me, do this, do that. They were there to advise me, and obviously, you know, they didn't say stop saying that, so I didn't stop saying it. I was told before I went on, this is our pitch, this is the information that we have to relay, and that's what I was doing.
Well, we've got Gary Beck here from the Calendar Club. I guess I found her so intimidating, I would have ordered 10 million of the flipping thing just to get rid of her.
The most irritating thing was being read to, right? That was really bad news. I was read to, not spoken to. And the inability to extemporise. When it was obvious that I was bored out of my mind and wanted it to wind down, it just ploughed on and on and on and on.
So why buy?
It was a nice day.
Let's have a look at the boys pitching. You'll enjoy this because I found this even more toe curling, if anything. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll give you I'm a total expert in presenting, the man said. Let's see how much of an expert.
David, we're here to talk to you about Great Ormond Street Hospital. You know, I think, and forgive me if I've become emotional because I'm very passionate about this cause. I think it's a truth that's self-evident that every child should have the right to a full, healthy, joyous life. And this outfit gives these children that choice. We've designed a calendar that I'd like to show you and see if you're interested in selling this calendar at Harrods, the world's most famous retail store. August, and action, the director. I love that picture. It's just beautiful. Bowled over, lost in cricket, crying.
I'm quite cynical about calendars because I buy lots and lots of calendars.
Sure.
10 million calendars.
Wow.
This year.
Wow!
Felicity, what did you make of that emotive language? I think that was Thomas Jefferson, the Declaration of Independence or something he was aping. It's a truth we hold to be self-evident. It just wasn't washing, was it?
See, Manny said, I'm a complete expert, so already he raises expectations. We expect him to be fantastic, and he goes in with the emotion. You've got to get that right, and he got that wrong, badly wrong.
But does that emotional thing actually wash? I can't see it working with Gary somehow, and I can't...
The best leaders, if they get it right, they win hearts and minds, if they get it right. But it has to be genuine, and it wasn't genuine.
I don't know if it's just something Sir Alan Sugar employees do, but that Nick Hewer always pulls a face like he's sucking a lemon, and you were pulling the same face when you were watching... Well, I know, but when you were watching... Well, you take my point. When you were watching that pitch then again on the telly, you couldn't quite believe what you were saying.
There was some pretty interesting stuff there.
We've got the buyer from Harrods here, David Miller. How did that work for you, the men's pitch?
I think I agree with what's been said. I mean, as soon as they walked in and they became all emotional, immediate turn-off. I think anybody that tries to pitch to a professional and comes in and plays that emotional card is immediately on to a Heidi to nothing. I mean, the most important thing, as far as I was concerned, was whether the product was right for our store and our customer.
And what about the idea? Nobody seemed to know what the flaming price of the calendar was. You know, was that? Is it normally like that?
Well, no. I mean, fundamentally, in something like that, particularly if it's linked to a charity, it's important as obviously as a price that's effectively across the whole market.
Gary from Calendar Club bought loads of them. Why didn't you buy any of them?
I didn't actually think that the calendar... I mean, first of all, the pitch I thought was appalling from the boys. I mean, I have to defend Nargis, and I think probably to some extent we were the third people that she came to see, and I actually think that I had none of those problems. I think she was probably a little bit more polished in terms of the presentation, and practice makes perfect, and I think that she came through and certainly there was no interruption, and I think she gave a very good pitch, significantly better than the boys, and I think it was actually quite good, to be honest, apart from the fact I also actually thought that the product was good.
You were incredibly loyal, actually, to the work that Karen had done by sticking doggedly to this sales pattern, which just plainly wasn't working.
Well, we went through the sales pitch as a team. Karen wrote it. I sort of made it sound like me, but used those words. But I was told, this is the information we have to relay. This is what a sales pitch is. I haven't done a sales pitch before. So I went on thinking, this is the information, I have to get this information across.
But in terms of her management skills, Felicity, could you see some merit in what she was doing?
You did a good job of actually bringing people together. You had clear roles for people, and actually the girls' team were a lot more cooperative than obviously we've seen in the boys' team.
I don't know whether you can bear to watch this, but shall we have a look now at what the survivors and what the boss had to say about you behind your back?
And Nargis, she's a bright person. She's a pharmacist, obviously quite a clever girl. But I found her blaming other people, not really taking any responsibility herself.
Karen was in charge of preparing the sales pitch.
But you were negotiating.
I was negotiating, but I was told what pitch to go in at.
And you're not responsible in any way at all, you don't think?
Well, as a team leader, I'm in charge of making sure everything comes together.
What Nargis did was made the mistake that she didn't listen to Sir Alan.
Sir Alan was saying whoever did not back this concept was the bright one.
I just want to know who's responsible. Who's responsible for the creation here? Who came up with and who condoned the creation of this?
If Nargis was trying to play a game, if she thought that having herself and me as strong players was going to get rid of Joe, she played a very, very daft hand there.
Can I ask you a point-blank question? Did you bring her in here thinking that because you two seem to come across as quite bright, that you're forcing me to make the decision to get rid of her? You sure?
Yes.
That annoys me, actually. I think that she recognised that Karen is a very, very bright cookie, and she considers herself as a very bright cookie. And then she placed herself with Karen in the boardroom and Joe, that there would be a no-brainer decision for me to make on Joe. I might be wrong. I think that's what she done.
Did you go with
I'll
them?
explain where I am.
Did you go with them?
Yeah, because
Did you go with
in
them?
Nick has just...
Did she go with you after that
There
or
were
not?
still some emotional outbursts, and it took a lot of energy.
Collapse her arguments and support the team when I was there.
You think so?
Yes, but on the
Did
second day...
I'm asking you.
Jo needs to just temper herself a little. She believes very strongly in something. I don't think there's anything wrong with letting you know she believes very strongly in something.
Anybody else would have been any better than me and Karen.
I think, all in all, Nargis did a bad job as a team manager, and that's why she went.
Have you spoken to Karen since you filmed the thing? After you walked out of there?
No, I haven't. And in fact, before before we went into the boardroom, she actually whispered in my ear and said, "I've been saying some negative things about you on camera. I thought I'd better tell you beforehand, just so that you don't get any surprises." And I think she did that to anger me, actually, to wind me up. But in fact, I didn't really want Jo to be fired.
But why take her in there?
I took her in there because she was the only one that held us back, because she wasn't playing her role as part of a team. And every member of the team came to me at some stage and said, "Keep her away from me, she's distracting me, she's disturbing me, I can't work. Please keep her away from me." So I had to set her a separate task where she was responsible for doing research on the internet, to keep her away from everybody else, yet she's playing a critical role. Every single role is important, but I had to keep her away from other people.
Sir Alan's got you down as some kind of Lady Macbeth figure, so scheming to get them to take these two in so, you know, you'd look good next to Karen. Do you absolutely refute that?
I absolutely do, because Karen, I thought, was the reason we didn't pass the task. I wanted him to fire Karen.
The psychology of survival in the boardroom. What's your reading of it? Do you want to get Sir Alan to like you or respect you or fear you, or just want to ball him into submission, which is what Jo eventually did? What are the tactics in there?
I think you were in the boardroom, you had to be, because of the position of your team. I think based on who you chose to be in there with you, for different reasons, neither of them were going to lose. Karen is incredibly a strong performer, as it currently stands, and she's also very political. And what was interesting is, all the time, she's managing the entire group as well as the task. And so when she was very direct with Jo, she also was at the same time, actually, she was putting her down, but she was also being very nice to her. And Jo took it from Karen. Karen was never going to get fired. And I also don't think Jo was going to get fired for a very different reason, because actually she came up with It Should Be Kids. She focused on the Great Ormond Street branding. It was very strong branding. She has passion and commitment, and Sir Alan appears to love that. So I think for very different reasons, they were not going to get fired. So by default, I actually think it had to be
you. As far as I was concerned, I was going to take in the people that I thought were responsible for us not winning. I wasn't going to take in other people who I didn't believe
And
were to blame, and that's why I took them in. I didn't look at it to see who's strong, who's weak, who's good, who's going to stay, who's going to go.
Yeah.
I don't think Sir Alan fired you because of who you brought into the boardroom.
Yeah.
I think you were in trouble before you went in the boardroom. I just think in the boardroom you didn't do anything to stop that.
We've got some of your friends and family there. Is Jonathan about? Your friend and your partner is getting some stick here.
With Nargis, you kind of she is who she is initially, but as you get to know her, I think she should have been in there for a bit longer. And I think people have got to know her and understand her. But after that, I think I should be doing the pitches from now on.
With Jo, you are a pharmacist. Did you ever just think there might be something you could actually just drop into a tea to calm her down? You have the technical know-how to do that.
I have the technical know-how, but I wouldn't abuse that knowledge.
Right. It's a prepared script you were reading from there. Let's have a little look at Jo now. 2 weeks of the bouncing brummie. Have a look at this.
Not everybody has the same level of expectation that I have and the same levels of energy. Your very kind boss has just offered to give us loads of free fruit. I like the elasticity. It's about kids and it's about colours. It's not about cute cats. What intimidates me? Not a lot, really. It's about our credibility as like women in business, that we don't get labelled with a label that tells us that we have to do that to get money. That is bright in your face. So I think it's bollocks.
I mean, before I come to you to ask you how on earth you manage somebody like Jo, as a psychologist, Felicity, they didn't teach you about the likes of her when you were doing your degree, did they?
Jo is great to watch. She's highly emotional. And you see it. If she thinks it just comes out of her mouth. And even her eyes are huge. If you just watch her, she's either jumping, screaming, crying. And it's great that you know where you stand with her, but people are going to get really fed up with her.
Well, she has actually bawled Sir Alan out. She shouted at him in his own boardroom, and he still wore it. You know, it's incredible. Have you ever seen anybody speak to him like that and live to tell the tale?
No.
It's a simple answer to a simple question. How much management time, again, did she take up? And did you spend much time with her, sort of trying to calm her down?
An immense amount of time, but off camera. I took her to the side on several occasions. I spoke to her in the car journeys.
I mean, she seems all full of fun. The bit where I thought perhaps I don't like her quite as much is when you came out of the boardroom. Now, you just had your heart broken. It had been tough in there. Surely you just shake hands and say, all right, you know, it's only a game and, you know, and you'd lost. But, I mean, look at the way she celebrated. There she is, out you come, Karen Stonyface, she's celebrating. And you're thinking, I wish I had a knife to plunge between her shoulder blades there, presumably.
When we came out, what hasn't been shown is that she flung her arms around my neck and she said, you shouldn't have been the one to go, you're the honest one.
Up until then, you had the women, bar Jo, all pulling in the same direction. Now, how did you achieve that? Did you have to go and sort of bang some heads together on the quiet?
Well, we were a team. I kept saying to the team, we're a team, we're working together. Everybody needs to know exactly what their role is, exactly what's going on, and I ensured that every single person knew their role and knew the whole picture. So it was, you know, ensuring that made everyone stick together and understand the whole process.
I mean, Jo's had an awful lot of press, you know, in the Sun, called a Tiggerish, a Ray Parlour lookalike. I've also seen her described as a Charlie Dimmock lookalike. She says Jo is the most trying, said the Saturday Guardian. A high-energy lunatic described in the Saturday Times. It's kind of rather cruel, but I suppose you'd say she deserves everything she gets.
Well, I can't say she deserves everything she gets. I mean, she is she is a passionate person, and this is her.
So I don't know how much of a consolation it is to you to see just that the boys had a bad week of it too, didn't they?
We do fucking well know prizes.
We've got 2 presentations left. We've got the 2 biggest buyers.
I really expect a bit more professionalism.
If you're going to say something useful.
Why the fuck are you being so aggressive?
Because you're talking crap.
No,
why does crap always come out of your mouth? You don't have a clue what we're doing.
I had a lot of time for you, and now I don't. You go away over there, mate.
Nobody is closing any business.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
Listen, guys, it's 8:30. It's 8:30, yeah? I'm not bothered about who is this, that and the other at this moment.
Why don't you trust that I've done that?
I don't want to have to sit here and spell out to people how hard I work.
I'm sure at White Hart Lane a few times you've shed tears, but in a business situation, have you ever cracked up like that?
No. I'm sorry to keep saying that. It's very strange. They keep crying, all of them. I mean, in a business environment, it's very unusual. I know it's a different environment. It's television. It's stressful.
It's intense.
It's very intense.
You can't appreciate, unless you've actually been there and done it, when you're living through those tasks, living through the adrenaline. It is very, very intense.
One of the guys there, I think Dunn is his name, he got very upset when they changed the bordering of the calendar from yellow to black.
You should have just said something.
And he ran down the corridor and
I think the line was, "Leave me in my world." You know, it's just...
he's going to struggle unless he can pull himself together. You know, people are going to have things to say about his work.
But, Paul, they were conforming to a macho stereotype of sort of macho businessmen tearing strips out of each other. Is it like that?
I think in every business environment, passions run, you know, emotions run high. Yes, but to that extent. I mean, I don't... In my 17 years in business, I've never known anyone who works for me or associate me crying because we've made a minor change on something they've done.
But what about effing and blinding and yelling at each other? That
goes on all the time.
Right.
Yeah. Particularly with Sir Alan.
Yeah. You do surprise me. Felicity, from... when you look, I mean, as a woman, you look at the boys then. When my wife watched it, she just rolled her eyes and said, "Oh, this is ridiculous." I mean, was that about your view of them? When
I was surprised. We're at episode 2 and we've had 3 people crying and 2 of them are guys. I mean, you know, would you have predicted that?
No.
I wouldn't.
But what about the fighting, the posturing and, you know, the effing and blinding? Is that necessary? Is that good for team building? Is it, you know, it's good to get the adrenaline pumping like that?
Well, it's really interesting that some of them are kind of facing off in a very alpha male type way with each other, the guys. Ansel is really interesting because he's almost assuming leadership implicitly now.
I'll tell you something we've learnt tonight. Ansel is some mediator. That fella comes out the bathroom wearing nothing but a towel. He was for all the world like he was getting angry, just let it drop and then wrestle them, then wrestle them naked until they actually submitted.
And you know what? What is absolutely true about this is it's all about body language. If you watched all of it without any sound, you'd pick out Ansel as the leader. That's what he's doing. It's not about necessarily what you're saying.
Say that. The only thing I'd say is, having watched the programme, Ansel, Saeed and Paul used to sit in the back of the car on their own, bitching about everybody. Yeah, why is he doing this? Why is he doing that? They're not doing this, they're not saying that. You know, they sounded like the Muppets, the 2 guys who sit in the balcony. Yeah. So I actually, that's how I saw it. I saw that whilst he was a good leader with, you know, around the whole team, when he got on his own with his 2 buddies, he was really sticking the knife in.
Saeed and Manny, as a business psychologist, what do you advise in terms of conflict resolution there? I mean, let's just get it on. Go outside, have a scrap, and we'll come in and see who's smiling. Would that not be easier?
Saeed is all the time pushing, and he can't help himself, OK? And Manny he does this really interesting thing where he smiles, and then he just bursts into F this, F that. And Ansel comes in to save the day. I think there's going to be more and more of that. I mean, you wonder how close they're going to get to physically going for it.
I fear the worst for you here, Nargis. Time to ask the audience. If you think Sir Alan got it right, can you hold up fired? If you think he got it wrong, could you hold up hired, please? However expensive the wine is you like best, I'm going to buy you a bottle of it tonight and we'll share it. Nargis, to take away and keep now, we have got the highlights of your 2-week apprenticeship.
Good morning. My name's Nargis. I'm a pharmacist, so I do work in the medical profession, and I have had personal experience in my personal life with dealing with needy people or people that need care and attention. Are you going to play? That really pisses me. What do you think I'm going to do?
Will you barter me for something?
Fruit for money. No one else is to butt in. I'm doing this. He's stepping back. That's hilarious. Give me a figure. Give me a number. I think I kick ass, baby. Simple, stylish, and chic. I was leading a team of very highly adrenaline-charged, strong-minded, intelligent women. You are going with it. Yeah. That's it. Final. Final. That's it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Nargis Zahara. Well done, Nargis. So 2 candidates down, 11 more to be chewed up and spat out by Sir Alan before he finds his apprentice. By the way, there are loads of great clips to view online at bbc.co.uk/BBC2. Next week, they're off bargain hunting and, heaven forbid, Joe is the project manager. It'll be worth watching. 9 p.m, BBC 2, Wednesday. Good night.
Ruth, you need to be the best salesperson. The cat thing, we don't want you fucking about with cats. We need you to be the best salesperson.
That was a different test,
I
Jo.
know, but what I'm saying is, I'm not bothered whether you like me or not, OK? What I need is honesty.
We actually had 8 hours and now we've got 7:45, so can we get on with the actual task?
Yeah.
Michelle, at the end of the day, if your leader is taking you in the complete wrong direction,
I agree.
Tell them.
You tell them clearly what the facts are.
Give me the phone and I'll tell her.
That.